another great edition of Mississippi Stories. I'm your host, Marshall Ramsey. I'm editor-at-large and editorial cartoonist at Mississippi Today, and we are continuing our series on great authors for the Mississippi Book Festival. Now, folks, as I said in the other videos, if you have not been to the Mississippi Book Festival, which is coming up on August 19th, it's coming up real soon, you need to go. It is truly one of Mississippi's crown jewels. It is fantastic. It's a great way for you to be able to not only get to meet your heroes, because it's obviously a great way to honor our gift here at Mississippi of storytelling, but it's a good chance for you to, find some new books, meet some new friends, and have a great day. It's up at the Mississippi Capitol, August 19th, and we'll make sure we have links to it so you can click to it as well. And one of the things we've been doing is that we've been featuring authors that are going to be in Author's Alley, and they're local authors, they're authors, first-time authors, they're maybe not big-time storytellers, but they're great storytellers. And I think today we've got one that's a fantastic storyteller, and much in the tradition of John Grisham and Mississippi authors that have started out and selling books out of the back of their car. We've got today, and this is the book right here. It's Scorching Secrets by J.J. Sherman and Addison Best Pharmacy Mystery. And you know what? The absolute beauty of the fact is that he is actually a pharmacist as well. So like Mark Twain said, write about what you know.
Exactly.
Hey, welcome. It's
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Very much. I appreciate it.
And of course, JJ stands for Justin Joe, but as an author, you were JJ.
JJ, as
Yes.
an author.
So
yes,
today you were JJ.
Yes.
But the cool thing about Justin Joe is kind of honoring your grandmother.
It is, yes. My late grandmother that passed, so she always called me Justin Joe.
Yeah.
So on the back of the book, it's always going to be Justin Joe.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So I had to throw that in there a
Of
little bit
course.
as well.
Thank you.
You, like I touched on, you were a pharmacy. You teach pharmacy.
I did.
At the UMC.
I did.
So,
Yes.
which by the way, it's UMMC.
It is UMMC, yes.
But that poor M always gets thrown out.
It does,
I know,
yeah.
but just for fun. But anyway,
Right.
you are that. So you literally wrote a great mystery that is set in the Mississippi Delta that features a pharmacist as the hero.
It does, yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
good for you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So and also too, she has a daughter,
She does.
just like you.
Just like me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah, Ruthie is patterned after my daughter too. So.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Now, okay, number one, I've always been really careful not to throw too much of my kids in my stories because I didn't want to pay for therapy, that kind of thing. So what was her reaction when she read the story?
Oh, wow. Okay. So she's read some of it, but she hasn't read all of it. So,
Okay.
but it's a little, not everything, of course, is her. It's embellished and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, it's just based on, the character's based on her.
So just tell her that the bad stuff that she doesn't like is just embellishment.
It's embellishment,
You're
yes.
totally on that.
Yeah.
So your first book here is Unmasking at Midnight. I guess this is your first book.
It is,
Right here,
yes.
short stories, which is
Right.
fantastic. And I've always said short stories is more my cup of tea because I can't, think past 1,500 words, and all that. But what made you decide to sit down and write a novel?
Oh, goodness. A couple of years ago, about 5 or 6 years ago, I started working at an independent pharmacy because I wanted to hone those skills because I had been a teacher for the last 23 years. So as soon as I got out of pharmacy school, I became a teacher. I went to University of Louisiana Monroe and I taught there for 9 years. And then I came over here at the University of Mississippi and I taught ever since 2009. But I realized back then that, what do I know about actual dispensing and being in a pharmacy and doing all the things that pharmacists really do? So I went back and on the weekends I worked at an independent pharmacy in Florence, Mississippi, and it has been a fantastic thing. So, and that's kind of what I gained inspiration for Scorching Secrets for.
One of the things I love about the book, and I think because it triggered a lot of memories when I was a kid, and the pharmacy, of course, it's in the town of Preacher's Rest. The pharmacy is called Scripts and Treasures. And I swear it could have been the pharmacy that I grew up going to as a kid. Our pharmacist was named Robin Hood.
Oh, wow.
I always thought that was kind of a very memorable name to
That's
remember.
right, yes.
But he was literally him and the postman and my doctor are three people that were big influences in my life growing up. Because, as a kid, he always knew what medicine I needed to be. But there was always like cool stuff in there too. And,
Right.
and the way you described Scripts and Treasure, it's like you can almost smell the place.
Oh, that's awesome.
You did a really good job on that.
Thank you for that. Yes.
So why did you decide to set it in the Delta?
Oh, well, because, I have been raised mostly in the Mississippi Delta. I was raised in Batesville, Mississippi.
Okay.
So, yes, and that's why on the back cover that I was born a Yankee, but raised a rebel, so,
Yeah.
and now I write suspense fiction,
So you weren't born in Batesville then?
No, I wasn't born in Batesville.
I'm about to say, if Batesville is now being a Yankee, then we're all in trouble. So,
Right.
Because I get that, and I'm
Yeah.
from Atlanta, so
Yeah.
on that. But,
Yeah.
So, you had Mayor Tutwiler, or I was like, okay, is that maybe I was trying to, because like I said, you're sitting there reading the book, and I'm trying to figure out where everything is.
Right,
Okay, was that intentional on that?
Oh, gosh.
So I'm gonna hit you on all the names.
Yeah, you are. So, actually, I think I got Mayor Tut from Mama's Family back in the day.
Okay.
So, yeah, I just pulled that from that. And so, yeah, and he acts just so ostentatiously. It's funny.
That's one of the fun things about being an author is the fact that you literally, it's like you get to name, it's like you're getting to not only name your pets but your children, all of that at the same time.
Absolutely.
So it's like
Yeah.
on
It's being a very great creator. Yes.
Yeah, go ahead and set up the story, because like I said, I really do like Addison best. She's your hero. She's in her 40s. She's divorced. She's got a daughter.
Right.
And she's taken over for her longtime dad, who's a legend in the community.
Right,
You
he
know,
is.
so that's hard
Very
too.
well respected.
So she's walking into literally, her dad's shoes, which
Yes.
that's hard enough as is.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So anyway, yeah, so she actually was a pharmacist for years. Addison Best was a pharmacist for years in Memphis, and she worked at a hospital, and she just got tired of, all the administrative stuff that she
Yeah.
had to run into and butt heads, and she also just divorced a philandering husband, so that's a part of it, and so she decides to take her daughter, Ruthie, down to Preacher's Rest, Mississippi, which
Yeah.
is very close to Vicksburg. It's, of course, a made-up town. I call it an edgy, cozy book, although it is a cozy book because it's got the cozy characteristics of it.
Yeah.
So it has the small town like Preacher's Rest. It's got the eclectic characters. So she's got two technicians, Babs and Chet, who most of the story centers around.
Which I love them,
pharmacy.
by the way.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, they're very entertaining. So.
They are. They have good banter back and forth, and man, poor Babs, man. She's like struggling with vaping and tobacco, the whole thing.
She is.
And I come to find out you're actually like taught a tobacco cessation class.
I have,
So
yes.
there
I have.
you go.
Yeah.
So by the time, and I'm not going to spoil too much of the book here, but by the end of it, you offer some tips.
I do, yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
on that. But no, the great characters. But I mean, you open up the book with a bang. Literally,
I
or
did,
actually with
yes.
a fire,
Mhm.
or with a murder, or
Right,
or,
yeah.
or, a lot of pain, or I don't know if I'm not going to give too much away, but
Yeah.
it was there's obviously some people in town that obviously are using Leviticus as their guide to everything.
Oh, yes,
I was just thinking, do they
absolutely.
stand outside of the buffet
Hmm.
and hitting the people for gluttony also?
That's funny.
That could happen also.
I could have put that in the
You
book.
could have,
I
yeah.
could
So we could do
I
that
may
for
or
the
may
sequel.
not have.
Yeah, that's fine. You can use it for free.
Okay,
You got it
thank
for
you.
free on that. But like I said, so you start off, and there's obviously a darker side to this little town.
There is, yeah. So, and she finds out, basically at the very beginning of the story, she's still feeling her pharmacy legs. And so, the well-respected physician comes into the pharmacy, and, she's all business. She wants her medicine. So, Addison Best gives her medicine, but she's like any small town. Oh, here's your husband's medicine as well.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out her husband is taking Viagra. And she didn't know, the wife did not know that he was taking Viagra, and so she gets very upset. She goes ballistic in the small town pharmacy, and it gets overheard by a couple of small town pharmacy residents.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the residents there in Preacher's Rest, and so word spreads, and it gets out.
In a small town in Mississippi?
Yeah,
I'm
that
shocked.
happens. Yeah. And so she decides to clear her own name and solve the murder.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So she suddenly, it's like Murder, She Wrote.
Kind of, yes, yeah, exactly.
Except it's script. It's like a
Yes.
pharmacy.
Right.
Let me ask you this on that. Like I said, she's having to do that, and like I said, there's peril, there's a lot of action and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
When you're sitting down, and when you wrote this book, did you like outline it and you're saying, okay, this is where I'm beginning, this is where I'm going to end, or did you just kind of let the story flow?
Right, yeah, that's the process. So, and that's funny. So that comes to me in different ways. And so, yeah, I had the basis of the story. And so I started writing this about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And over time, it came to me, and I started writing, and I did. I wrote, okay, this chapter I'm going to write about this chapter I'm going to write about this. And for me, as a writer, it's if I can figure out what's going to happen at the end,
Yeah.
then I can make it through the middle. So
Yeah.
I've got a great beginning, and then okay, well, what happens at the end? And I want to tie it all up, and I want to resolve it in a satisfying way as well. So yeah, I do outline the chapters.
We have a lot of great independent authors in Mississippi. Like, I think of, Darden North, who's a longtime doctor here,
Mm-hmm.
who's written some books and has had some movies made of him now. I'm really proud of him for that.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Lee, who's, does publishing, but he's also written some
Mm-hmm.
novels as well. When you're sitting down, and obviously now the whole process of coming up with a novel is so much different than it was even 20 years ago. You don't have to wait for a gatekeeper to open the gate for you.
Sure.
You can bust down the gate yourself.
Yeah.
Talk about that process a little bit. When you said, okay, I'm going to sit down and write this, and I want to get it published.
Mm-hmm.
What did you do next?
Okay. So I actually just finished the book several months ago,
Yeah.
and so I am looking for a publisher.
Yeah.
And but independent publishing is a way to go, just like
Yeah.
you said, and it's a very fruitful way to go for some people. If they can gather an audience.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to throw out a word here, Colleen Hoover.
Yeah.
Colleen Hoover. So she is Colleen Hoover. They probably know her as this famous romance writer.
Yeah.
And she, now she has sold about 20 million copies of her books.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and she started out as an independent, she independently published her books as well.
Oh, that's great.
Mm-hmm. But she's a fantastic writer. So,
Yeah.
she gathered a following very quickly.
Yeah, one thing about publishing houses now, because I've been in the newspaper business for a long time, but I mean, they've had the same type of thing. They've had a lot of change
Mm-hmm.
and so forth, and they love authors that have a following and have, whether it's on social media or in the book. So it makes a lot of sense to be able to do that.
Right.
And you did it through Amazon, so you can not only get it through the Kindle,
Mhm.
but you also can get it, you can get actual physical copies published as well,
Absolutely.
which is really nice
Yes,
too.
it is.
So when you got the first box, what was that like cracking
Oh
open
my
that
goodness,
box?
cracking open the
Yeah,
book
going-
and smelling it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's no better feeling than that. So
It is.
yes, it really is great.
So what's been some of the reactions so far on the book?
Oh goodness, I've had a lot of people that have really liked the book so far.
Mm-hmm.
So and I get all kinds of good advice. I get the most interesting advice from my mom, who she's one of my beta readers, of course, and she's very specific. She's like, well, I like this and I don't like this. Can you change this or whatever? So I mean, she's she doesn't say, oh, this is lovely and this is wonderful, which is great for an emerging writer like me. So
Yeah.
I love that. So I've got several beta readers that are students.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes.
So you get an A if you like my book. No, I just made that up. Don't want to get you in trouble.
Totally made that up.
Dr. Woodward, if you're watching this, you did not do that.
That's great.
Yeah, you're in trouble. But that's cool. When you were you a reader when you were growing up?
Oh, yes.
What were your favorite books as a kid?
Oh, awesome. So I have read a lot of
Yeah.
different. So when I was a kid, goodness, it was science fiction. It was Isaac Asimov. It was
yeah.
Ray Bradbury. But I loved Lovecraft as well,
Yeah.
from the early 1900s. And then Stephen King, wrote a lot of great early novels. So so those were pretty much my influences. And then I went from there.
My favorite books that I even have today, it's all dog-eared, is Stephen King's On Writing. That is
Oh,
such
yeah.
a good book.
It is a great book.
That is such a
It
good
really
book.
is. Mhm.
Obviously you spent a lot of time in pharmacy school, which is good because that's important.
Yes.
We want you to be good at that. But also too, where do you feel like you learned how to write? Was it reading or was it just sitting down and doing it?
Ooh, yes, so both. So you can't, unless you're willing to read and read and read and read different, different genres and things like that, then you really don't have the tools to write. So I believe that. So that came from on writing, actually. So, and I definitely believe that. So, but just the process of, every week sitting down at least several hours a week and just, doing it
Yeah.
and thinking about things and, oh, this is not what this character would do. This is not what this character would do. So, kind of, mine's more character driven. So, especially Scorching Secrets, because it comes from their character, and they're like, oh, Addison decides, no, I want to save the pharmacy, for my dad, and save his reputation and save the reputation of the pharmacy. So I'm gonna, go out and solve this murder. So so it all comes from character-driven stuff.
That's cool. Like I said, and you did do a good job on that. You really did flesh out the characters really well on that. So I'm throwing that. So you'll be at the book festival.
Yes, sir.
You're going to be there at Author's Alley from the beginning it opens up till the minute it closes.
8 to 5.
Be
Yes, I
able
will.
to sign in autographs. And like I said, the book is Scorching Secrets, an Addison Best Pharmacy Mystery, which makes me feel like there will be others.
There will be others, yes.
Yeah. So have you already got some plots thrown around in your head?
Oh, goodness. So I actually have a series in my head.
Nice.
So for, off of the Addison Best Pharmacy Mysteries. And so, the second book is going to be kind of a continuation of the first book.
Yeah.
And from the end of that. And it'll have all the main characters in there and them interacting again. So.
Yeah, you definitely had some character growth in there as well. And like I said, I hope Babs is able to stay off the vape and off the
I hope so,
tobacco.
yes.
And you had a good point there. You're like, vaping's not a great substitute because you end up smoking and vaping at the same time.
You do.
My father-in-law's got that.
Oh.
That's you on that. No, exactly on that a little bit. Is there anything is there anyone you're hoping to run into at the book festival?
Oh, goodness.
Any of your heroes?
Oh, goodness.
You're like, I'm going to be at the table selling books the whole time. I'm not going to see anybody.
I can't remember everybody's name, but yes, Mr. Ford is actually a, faculty member in Oxford, and so that would be awesome to run into him as well. I love talking to everybody that comes by the tables, because I went last year, and I was, talking about Unmasking at Midnight, my short story book. And I had such a fun time just talking to people who are readers.
Yeah.
Because in my circles, I don't have that many people that are, just constant readers. And so it was nice to talk to people and go, oh, people read. I like that.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's great. And like I said, that people there are so passionate about the about the whole process and everything else about the writing. So
Absolutely.
it's fun. I'm happy for you. This is cool. And like I said, for you to be able to get it done and get it published and so forth. And like I said, I think anybody who's ever done a book, they realize that when it comes and arrives in that first box, it's literally, and you're a dad too, so you understand. It's like, I'm a dad again. It's
Right.
great. And I don't have to put this book through college.
Exactly.
So, by the way, is your daughter going to follow in your footsteps?
Oh, goodness. So I'm really proud of my daughter. So she's in the medical field as well. She's actually an M2
Oh my gosh,
this
okay.
year. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Very nice.
Yeah, and so she really wanted to come to the taping today, but she couldn't because, they've already started class.
I know it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry she missed it. But that's okay. She can watch it and say hello and I'm proud of her. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
I remember I spoke to the first years, I spoke to the group and I said, you do realize that I do realize that I'm not the smartest person in the room. I knew that for a case. Any final thoughts?
Oh, goodness. None except, I'm humbled and very happy to be here, and thank you very much for inviting me to this.
No, this is great.
Please read, and please come to the book fair, because we all would love to talk to you.
I will say this, like I said, I read a lot of books, especially for this series, but I've really enjoyed it. It's really been a fun read, and you did a good job. And like I said, I think the Delta is always a great place to set anything, because somehow it spurs. It's like the soil; it's very fertile and spurs great stories. And that was Siri that just talked to me out of nowhere, and I don't know how that just happened. So go figure. So. Always surprises when we're taping. So Anyway, hey man, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you,
I
Marshall.
appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank
All
you.
right, Mississippi Book Festival, August 19th. He'll be signing books. Everybody will be signing books. It starts early in the morning on Saturday at the state capitol. You can't miss it. You can check out, we'll put a link in the site as well. And you can go to MississippiToday.org and find past episodes of Mississippi Stories, and you can see some okay cartoons and some great journalism as well. Hey, on behalf of my guest JJ Sherman, I'm Marshall Ramsey. I hope to see you next time right here on Mississippi Stories. Thank you for watching this episode of Mississippi Stories. Make sure to subscribe to the Mississippi Today YouTube channel and click the bell to be notified every time a new video uploads.